Hey guys, Twelve58 here. Hope you're doing well. Today I want to get into another frequently asked questions video, which means I'll go through 3 questions from 3 recent videos, and I'll do my best to answer your questions, maybe your critiques, and we'll see where that goes. I haven't checked out the comment section yet, so this will be a surprise to me like it is to you. And if you're new to my channel, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Twelve58. You can call me 12. And we cover Splinterlands primarily, but other blockchain-based video games that I think can change our lives. Like, I really think this is revolutionary. I think this is a very special moment to be aware of blockchain-based video gaming, and Splinterlands might be the foremost sort of within that conversation. At least it is in my life. If that sounds interesting, stick around, stay tuned, like, and subscribe. Okay, so JPH, good to see you, pal. Thanks for you've been dropping a lot of the comments. I sincerely appreciate it. I still would love to have a chat sometime soon. He's part of our guild, and yeah, come over. Let's have a chat. One of these lives or something, like even with the members. Well, this invitation is like for all the TNA guys too, by the way. There's 5 or 6 of you that have spoken to me in different ways at different times, and I know you've got this like intimate knowledge of this space, and I would love to give more volume to some of those voices. And that's not just TNA, but I am definitely talking right now to the TNA brothers. FBI analyst, we will allow you to get some bids off as long as you only do it for a short time. I think you're teasing maybe about how the bots operate in the marketplace, because you got your little bot, and it is true, man. It's a fight. It's a fight to stay on top of but sometimes they don't want what you want. And I've noticed, I've been holding a bid on a certain card for a while. So I'm looking at I'm looking at so many different things right now, guys, but I am maybe deeply interested in, or you maybe particularly interested in Rebellion because of the mage wagons. And I am definitely focusing on gold foils, because you actually can get a few of these gold foils and level that card up pretty easily, because you often need like 200, 300 copies of a common to make it meaningfully powerful. But then with the commons, look at this common rearguard. You know, if I had 5 copies, maybe if I had 14 copies, I'd consider that like a really playable card. You know, of course, I happen to have a max of this card, but you see my point. It's like these you know, that gold range of power is actually pretty reasonable in terms of BCX required to access. And so I am looking at gold foils more than regular foils for 2 reasons: the mage wagons and the points that the golds enable, as well as you only need a few of these buys to really make a gold foil playable. And so with the conversation around bid buys, I've been tracking all the rebellions. I've been tracking these legendaries. I'm not currently holding any of these high bids there, but last I checked, I was holding a high bid over here with respect to epics. Somebody came in hard. I was holding Sasa Toledo's high bid at $17 or something like that, but as you can see, no, my bad. There I am. Thanalorian Scion, $17 right there. Now the low buy is $32. If I was to fill that, you might say it's not going to fill, but I can tell you that sometimes it does. I absolutely know from experience, sometimes it does. And yet, FBI Alex's point is true. You know, you often have to fight to keep your high bid on that high point. But with Thanalorian Scion, maybe people just, you know, don't really want that card. And I kind of, I have to be totally honest, I don't think it's a particularly strong card. It's not necessarily that I want it because I think it's a strong card, but as we always talk about, is the only reason to buy a card. You shouldn't think unidimensionally about these things. Do we only buy cards because they're quality in-game? Or do we buy cards because they might be a financial investment? Or do we buy cards because they're an improvement to our deck? Or because they allow us to win in specifically rank reward, or specifically guild brawls, or specifically tournaments? I think it's a bit of the full picture, isn't it? And then even, do we buy cards because they're a good price, right? Like, and if I was able to buy that for $17, we'll see if I am. Bid buys are absolutely powerful in that respect. Absolutely. Like, I've been holding that bid buy has been placed and has been held since I sold my gladiators, which was, I want to say Monday this week, and today's Friday. Oh no, it might have been Friday last week. I think it's probably 5 or 6 days that I've held that bid buy. Hasn't filled, maybe never will fill. But the bots don't always one-up you on the bids, and it kind of depends on the marketplace. Maybe they are particularly focusing on some other cards, because I've seen some crazy prices on Legendary Chaos Legions, gold foils, I mean. Like, look at this, 33 bucks. The high bid, look at these high bids, 25, 25, 25. Someone has come through who's sitting on a lot of DEC and said, I'll buy everything for $25. They don't care what it is, right? That it's, to them, it's such a low number that they're happy to hold that floor. And that's interesting. But I do think that's probably controlled by a bot. You know, I don't think somebody's coming in manually and inserting, you know, what looks like 20 different high bids, right? And then manually adjusting them if they get outbid. So the bots are absolutely, you know, in this marketplace, but there are some cards and in some niches where they aren't really paying attention. And maybe it's because it's not a strong card, but you can't tell me you wouldn't be happy to get a Thanalorian gold foil because of the context within the bonuses from the Mage Wagons at almost half price, right? Because the low buy is 32, and if I can get it for 17, I'm almost 50% value. Again, who knows if it lands? And if I had another reason to use this DEC, like if this DEC was burning a hole in my pocket, bids don't work, because you need to have that DEC just sitting around and enabling that opportunity for the buy. And otherwise, if you're tying up value that you want to use in another way, that itself is its own consideration. So bid buys are exciting. There's some real discounts if possible. You do have to fight against the bots. It can be quite annoying. It's not always, you know, guaranteed that you're going to get it, but there's possibilities out here that can be really powerful. FBI Alex, thanks for the comment, and yeah, let's check out another comment from another video. There's quite a few comments on that video. I actually didn't think there'd be too much kind of feedback on that one. Okay, selling gold foils. Ooh, I think this one turned out to be a spicy little one. Selling all my gold. So this video I saw, let's click on this video indirectly. So these are comments from this specific video. When did I get? I don't know, but that's not that bad actually. I thought it was way more than that. But there was a couple that were not pleased with my title, selling gold foils. And FBI Alex says when clickbaiting backfires. Let's see what else. There's one in here. Asmon said, if your title means you're only burning gold foil gladiators, you went from clickbait to lying. Yeesh. I burned them. I created money in my wallet. So I take that as a financial transaction. And, you know, is it technically a sale? No, I guess. But, you know, man, I think you're splitting hairs. And this is a gladiator, this image. And so, and contextual, like within this moment, it's actually really important that people understand what's happening with this. That the gladiators are potentially burnable for DEC today, but then very, very soon not. I'm not sure everybody knows that. In fact, I feel certain most people don't know that. I bet there's 300 people that know that, and I bet there's 3,000 people that have gold foil, or sorry, that have gladiator cards that they could potentially want to liquidate, but they don't necessarily know that this looming change. And so, yeah, I don't regret the title. I don't regret the tone. You're definitely right. There's a clickbait element to it. But I mean, I'm trying to excite people about this game. You know, I walk in a certain passion for Splinterlands, and you guys know this. Like, I talk about this thing every day, and I have for 5 years. I play this game every single day, and I have for 5 years. That speaks to a certain passion that's genuine about how I engage with this thing. And so, yeah, I wanna draw people's eyeballs toward it. I don't, you know, I'm not apologetic for that. I think we should all want that when whether we're speaking about it, you know, with people we know in our real life, or whether we're on X or YouTube or Hive or wherever the case may be. if you love this game, if you see something special about it, don't you want to talk about it? Don't you want people to be drawn to you? And you know, if somebody tells a joke on a stage and you go, that's not a real story. You know, like that feels like the same thing when we go, you know, you didn't sell them, you burned them. Asmon, I'm just teasing, brother. I mean, I feel I like the video. I was pretty proud of that one. But yeah, I think you got a little spicy on me there. Thanks for the comment though, brother. Appreciate it. And there was one more too. There was one more from John Wick. Okay, I want to touch on this one too. Same video. This will be still within the second comment. Not to be rude, Dwayne, but as a Christian, you should not be using clickbait and your titles and say things in your descriptions. Like in this video, I discuss why now is the time, he's quoting me, to sell all of my gold foils. Yeah, I guess it would be more clear if I said burn. I don't know if that's one of the main concerns you have, because you say that's very misleading. I unsubscribed to this reason, and I just thought it wasn't right. Okay. I appreciate you, brother. You know, if you even see this, I guess. I'll say thank you for having subscribed. Thank you for dropping a comment. Thank you for, you know, engaging with the conversation. I did feel like this is a sale. Again, as I pointed out earlier, I'm not going to rehash that, but I got currency in my pocket, and I explained like literally within the first 10-30 seconds of the video how I'm burning them. I don't know if maybe I didn't use that language. Maybe I used the word sell. I don't remember. But I absolutely explained how there's a unique moment because they're changing how you can get rid of your gladiators. So it's not like I kind of invite people in and then, you know, 10 minutes into the video, it's like, oh, you're talking about something totally different. No, I was really clear, like right from the get-go. Plus, I think there's a certain degree of like showmanship that maybe sometimes people don't appreciate when you're coming at it from that angle. So that's my view, and that's my hope, that really I hope I'm making entertainment that is educational. In the same way Splinterlands is fun and rewarding, I hope that my content is offering the same thing. That's not going to be cold. That's not going to be kind of like, let's say, overly edited or particularly even professional. Like, I'm just a dude who loves a game. And by the way, from my Christian walk too, man, like, don't think of me as some sort of like higher than thou, right? It's like, I'm just a dude. And so if you feel like I'm kind of not meeting up to your standard, I just want to invite you to like set down standards you might have for me, because I'm just a dude on the internet who loves a video game. But thank you very much for the comment and for having previously been subscribed. I sincerely appreciate that. Let's get one more comment. I really think there's a big conversation to be had around this major exchange listing. Let's read what Phoenix has to say about this. Okay, he says, with respect to the major exchange listing, he says, I try to stay positive most of the time, but it really seems like this is tier 1 exchange proposal has really damaged the Splinterlands community more than anything. A 5-year-old project that has survived multiple bear markets, and CEO comes out expressing doubt it would even be possible to get a big exchange listing without more development. That cut a lot of people's faith off at the knees. Interesting thought. Then saying we need a new player experience and knows before a big exchange would even consider SL. It's the never-ending soon all over again. Interesting. It has stoked even more infighting. Triggered people to quit. And further throw into question the viability of SL ever going mainstream. Wow, there's a lot going on here. Crap coins launch on big CXs all the time and usually don't even have a product behind them. How and why is Splinterlands unworthy of a big CX listing? I love SL and think it's going to be around for a long time even without a listing, but it almost feels like we are trying to go unnoticed due to fear of the unknown. Interesting. Amazing comment, Phoenix. And Phoenix, another person I want to chat with soon. Let's try and sort that out, brother. If you see this one, I'm sure you will. I want to say though on this, I want to touch on a couple of things that you've got to say here, but I actually have some important thoughts I want to drop with respect to this proposal. There's a proposal now about the exchange listing. I'm going to come back to this in a moment, but let's pull that up. I want to do almost a separate video on this, and I will probably, but I'm going to try and give you like my 1 minute, because I think this is really important. Establish an exchange fund to pursue an SPS listing on Binance. 6 days to close at time of recording, and we're winning currently. I'm not sure how I feel about this. This is my like 1 minute talking point on this. I'm not sure how I feel about this. They're talking about allocating a lot of money, and they're talking about a lot of SPS. Again, I'll go into a deep dive on this in a separate video, but we're talking about a lot of value, a lot of SPS, and I'm not convinced exchange listings are the hype that we think they are. When I've been here since 2016 or 17 or something, and I've seen lots of coins get listed on Binance and they do see a pump. Usually it's like, it can be substantial, but it often is not sustainable. You know, you'll go up and then back down. And usually in my mind, all that's happening is we give them tokens for that exchange listing, and then they sell into our buying pressure. And I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying we shouldn't want it. I'm not even saying that it doesn't ultimately lead to more eyeballs, all the good reasons that you might want it, right? Like, I know there's a ton of good reasons. You want more trade, you want access to trading volume, you want access to a new audience, you want new people to discover your game. There's tons of great reasons why you'd want to be on a new exchange, even for ease of on-ramp and off-ramp within the game. More options is better. And there's like $60 billion worth of sort of daily liquidity or sort of daily volume within Binance. So you say like, wow, what if a fraction of that came to Splinterlands? I mean, I don't know why we assume, you know, just because we get listed, there'll be buyers from that 60 billion. Like, won't it? Like, isn't it reasonable to conclude that there'll be a number of haters within that audience that would, you know, that would, I don't know if shorting's an option on Binance. I don't think it is actually. Leverage trading, I don't think it is. But I guess all I'm saying is I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm not convinced that this alone is a powerful tool that some people seem to think it is. It's just like we list and then we go up is what I seem to be hearing. I'm not certain of that. And there's a cost that's significant. And that cost will get sold back onto our audience's heads by the exchange, who will sell into the initial buying pressure. Is that good? I don't know. I'm not saying I'm voting no to it. In fact, I'm probably going to vote yes to it. But these are my thoughts on that. And now I want to circle back to Phoenix's comment, because he seems clearly to desire that listing. But more than that, I think Phoenix points not even so much that he wants the listing. He does seem to want it, but it's more about how Matt seemed to approach our applicability for listing. And I think you make some really strong points in there. I hadn't thought about it that way at all. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think Matt's points as he outlined them, and then later I heard them kind of restated on Aftersound's channel or something. I think it might have been. And somebody who was it? I'm going to forget right now. There was an ongoing conversation around the points really there. And it's like, if 20 or 50 people are witnesses on the Hive blockchain, those 20 or 50 people are the backbone of the reliability for the economy, the tokenomics of Splinterlands, because we are on the Hive blockchain. And that is the focal point, or the explanation that I heard, that really lands to me. It does seem like that would be justification for, let's say, concern from a perspective of a exchange that wants to list us. Maybe Matt shouldn't have said that. Maybe from an advertising perspective, from like a forward-facing sort of business approach, maybe you're right. A CEO shouldn't express such doubt. I don't know. I mean, I would argue that Matt is amazing and genius and is doing a bang-up job in so many respects, but he is not a traditional CEO, and this is not a traditional company. And I have no doubt that he himself would admit there are ways in which he doesn't operate maybe optimally. And probably even part of that, to be honest, is town halls. Like, do you think anybody, like, who else does that? Once a week town halls, or once every other week, is it? You know what I mean? This is an example of what we like about how he's different, the town halls. But don't you see, guys, when we start to hold up this candle and we say things like, you know, Matt, you know, you made X mistake, or you made, you know, Y promise and then weren't able to deliver. We're so critical sometimes against Splinterlands, the team. We were with Aggie, and now in some sense, maybe the shine is wearing off with Matt. Because usually when you get a new CEO or a new change in leadership, there's this period of grace where people are like, everything's great. And SPS, by the way, pumped from like 1.3 cents to almost 4 cents in that window. So then we're even more excited, but now we're back down to 2 cents. And so I think my last point I want to make to you, Phoenix, you talk about essentially, I mean, you're critical of that, let's say, approach to, let's say, public facing skepticism. And while you might be right about the idea that they perhaps should have a more cohesive, self-deprecating tone, I have to admit, when I listen to Matt, I hear like a real person who is just doing his best. And that's part of actually why I trust him. And so while you're kind of pointing at one angle or one corner of like a diamond and you're saying like, look, that's a rough edge. I go, yeah, but like it's a diamond. That's kind of what I mean. Like and so I'm not saying, I kind of think as I read your comment, I think I agree with a little bit of what you're saying. But I also wonder how much of what you're saying is impacted by the recent, we were at 3 cents and now we're at 2. And and even the animosity you refer to within Discord or wherever else where people are leaving and this kind of suggestion, man, this is a challenging moment. Absolutely. Only certain people will survive this moment. Only certain people will survive and see Splinterlands reach, like what we might consider a meaningful end target, whether that's land 2.0 even, whether that's SPS 10 cents even. This is not an easy ride. Being in a game like this that is literally, maybe it was the first of its kind. In a lot of respects, there was no other game that allowed rentals. I know that. And so the card assets had a certain utility that was uniquely powerful. And I do think collectible card games on a blockchain is itself revolutionary because you truly own the assets and there's utility in the NFT. And so there's this trustless mechanism by which you can like trade, exchange, sell, buy, etc. And that's really, really powerful. And so all things considered, do we have it all figured out? Are we approaching it, well and wisely? No. Do we have a lot of room to grow, even in sort of the professionalism or the way we speak about our own game? Probably. Even the developers and the team themselves, even the CEO himself. But man, this is still exciting. And despite all the excitement, despite the possible joy that you even admit in your last sentence there, you're like, I think it's going to be here for many years. There's still a moment of tension, stress, and anxiety that I think is more to do with the current price decline than it is to do with even Matt's comments. I'm pretty convinced if we pump to 4 cents later this week, and I'm not saying we will, but if we do, I bet you see the Discord just love and hugs, and X will be just like blowing up with joy and exuberance. It has everything to do with sentiment, and it really is more of an indicator that this is a special moment, and many will be shaken before we see the real exuberance and opportunity and joy, like the real victory, let's say, the real whatever the moon is. That's my 2 cents. And guys, just thank you so much for viewing the content. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for my members who financially support what I do here. And I want to say I'm going to do a live on Thursday at 9 a.m. And so we'll go live for 2 hours Pacific Standard Time. So come hang out, members only. If you want to become a member, check out the members tab on the YouTube page and consider subscribing at whatever level makes sense to you. And you'll be invited to weekly live events where you can ask questions and engage with me directly. Plus there's a whole library of members only content. So thank you. God bless.